source. This is ABC27 News, Daybreak.
Good morning. Welcome to ABC27 News Daybreak. It is 5 o'clock on this Monday morning. I'm James Crummell.
And I'm Allie Lanyon. I got in the car, and from yesterday, I had the air conditioner blasting. So when I turned it on, the air conditioner blast, I was like, oh, no. We don't need that quite this morning.
No, nope, not at all.
Let's turn to meteorologist Addis Ukolo and Amanda Peterson for traffic and weather together. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, in fact, guys, I actually turned on the heat for a minute. I did too. I just needed it to warm up a little bit. I could not believe how chilly it felt compared to what we had all weekend.
Right, and even tomorrow morning, it's going to be even chillier, so you're definitely going to need the heat tomorrow, and maybe even a sweater. And so even this morning, it is, like you said, a little chilly out there, certainly refreshing temperatures in the lower 50s, but we do have some 40s on the map there. If you're watching me yesterday, I was mentioning how some of our cooler valleys might make it down into the upper 40s. So Carlisle right now at 49 degrees. Sunrise here in Ephrata, 51 degrees. Very comfortable out there this morning, very quiet. Sunshine today again. Good luck finding a cloud in the sky as highs approach 70 degrees. We'll send it over to you, Amanda.
All right, thank you, Addis. Yeah, let's take a look at the roads this morning, starting out with a clear traffic map. No delays this morning, no crashes to report, and a lot of green. So that is good news for drivers heading out early on this Monday morning. We will take a look at your drive times and those PennDOT traffic cameras. Those are coming up. But for now, we want to send things back to the desk to Allie and James.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. Happening today, a state senator will hold a press conference on a bill aimed at increasing safety and security for members of faith-based groups and others.
The bill, also known as the True Program, was created following the mass shooting at a synagogue in Pittsburgh last October. Erica Moffett-Dilks live at the state capitol with more. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning. Senator Andy Dinniman is behind this legislation, which he hopes will get enough support to become law. Dinniman will discuss Senate Bill 676, also known as the True Program, which stands for Tolerance, Respect, and Understanding, and is aimed at addressing security needs and confronting violence against organizations, this morning at the Capitol at 11 o'clock. Back in October, 11 people were killed when a gunman opened fire at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. Senator Dinniman says that tragedy was the impetus for this legislation, which has two purposes. The first is to establish a Pennsylvania nonprofit security grant program, which would provide security improvements for facilities used by faith-based groups. The other is to give grants for community-based conversations and events, which will create an atmosphere supportive of tolerance, respect, and understanding. Senator Dinniman has said at the end of the day, while we may not always agree, there is no doubt that we'll all get a lot further through peaceful dialogue and civil discourse than by planting the seeds of violence in bullying and hate. Now, Senator Dinniman has said that so far this legislation is receiving support from both sides of the aisle. We're live at the Capitol this morning. Erica Moffett-Dilks, ABC27 News.
All right, thank you, Erica. To the latest now on the deadly shooting rampage at a Virginia Beach government building. This morning, investigators continue to search for a motive.
Investigators now say the shooter had not been fired, but resigned and was an employee in good standing prior to the attack. ABC's Serena Marshall is in Washington with the new timeline police have released.
12 lives lost, 12 victims remembered. Hundreds of people gathering to remember the 7 men, 5 women murdered at their work by their longtime colleague.
They leave a void that we will never be able to fill.
Candace Rauch trying to make sense of the loss of her friend, Lakita Brown, who had worked for the city for 4.5 years.
Knowing that when I go there that I won't run into her anymore, that's going to be the hardest part.
At the building, a memorial stands as we learn new details about the timeline. Officers arriving just 2 minutes after the first 911 call, but navigating through a maze of hallways in what's described as a honeycomb-type building. 10 minutes later, they find and engage the suspect, later identified as city employee Dwayne Craddock.
Still actively hearing gunshots.
A prolonged gunfight ensues, the suspect carrying 2 handguns, extended magazines, and a silencer.
Officer hit, officer hit.
36 minutes after that first call, officers busting through a door, taking him down. He later died at the hospital.
Right now, we do not have anything glaring.
They are still searching for a motive. The 15-year city employee handing in his resignation just hours prior. Colleagues searching for answers.
He briefly made eye contact with me, but did not point the gun at me.
The FBI has now taken the lead in the investigation, and authorities say they are still in the evidence-gathering phase. 4 victims remain hospitalized in critical condition. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
The criminal trial for a man charged with the killing of a mother and her teenage daughter almost 40 years ago is set to begin this morning. Abraham Cruz Jr. was charged in the August 1980 killings of Nancy Patterson and her 17-year-old daughter, Deborah. Prosecutors say they were shot to death as they tried to escape their Freedom Township, Adams County home, which had been set on fire. Nancy's husband was also shot but survived. Cruz's uncle was charged in the case. He pleaded guilty to third-degree murder in February of 2014 and was sentenced to 16 to 40 years in prison. Cruz was arrested in 2015. Initially, prosecutors were going to seek the death penalty, but that is now off the table. This morning, a York County volunteer fire department is remembering one of its members who died in a motorcycle crash. John David Smith was a member of the Leo Independent Fire Engine Company No. 1. He served with that department since 2016, but served with other stations as well. State police in Maryland say he crashed his motorcycle last night in Cecil County after attempting to pass an empty school bus. Smith was taken to the hospital where he later died. He was 26 years old. His passenger is still in the hospital.
Right now, President Trump is in Britain for a state visit. He and his family arrived a short time ago. The 3-day visit starts with a full ceremonial welcome from the British royal family, Her Majesty the Queen, the future King, Prince Charles, and Camilla at their home in Clarence House. The president will inspect the Guard of Honor, decked in full British military regalia. All this ahead of a banquet tonight. Both the Queen and the president will make speeches at the dinner, but one notable absentee, Duchess Meghan, still on maternity leave in Windsor. President Trump stirring controversy with his comments to the Sun newspaper, responding to criticisms Meghan made about him in 2016.
She said she'd move to Canada if you got elected. Turned out she moved to Britain.
There are a lot of people moving here. So what can I say? No, I didn't know that she was nasty.
President Trump also stirring controversy by boldly weighing in on who should succeed outgoing Prime Minister Theresa May. The president is backing former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, the man some call the British Trump. The president also voiced his support for a so-called hard Brexit, where the UK would just crash out of the EU with no deal, a potentially chaotic course. Top Mexican officials will be in Washington, D.C. this week to begin talks over tariffs and the southern border. Today, the Mexican economy minister will meet with the Commerce Secretary. Then on Wednesday, a delegation led by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will meet with the Mexican delegation. They will begin talks on President Trump's plan to impose tariffs on Mexico until the country meets his demand for fewer migrants at the border. However, some Republicans warn the tariffs on Mexican imports will hurt U.S. consumers and hurt the economy.
Women have had a constitutional right to abortions here in the U.S. for over 45 years, but now several states, including Pennsylvania, are considering bills that would restrict or ban them. Pennsylvania's House passed a bill preventing abortions based on a fetus's diagnosis of Down syndrome. Other states have a fetal heartbeat bill. A heartbeat can be detected before many women even know they're pregnant, but should state and federal lawmakers be in a position to tell all women what they can and cannot do with their bodies? Advocates from both sides of the abortion debate weighed in on this week in Pennsylvania.
I think it's really important as a woman. I fully embrace the argument of bodily autonomy. I think it's really important that women aren't told by the government what to do before they reproduce. Once we reproduce and form a brand new human life, we don't have the right to exterminate that life.
By saying it does not serve women well, is the Pro-Life Federation, through Bonnie, is essentially speaking for all women. I don't think all women who have had abortion care would necessarily agree with it.
Pennsylvania's bill now sits in the state Senate. If it passes, Governor Wolf has said he will veto it.
This week, ABC27 and Penn State Health will host a healthcare education and career fair. It'll feature schools and colleges with programs in the healthcare field and employers in the healthcare industry. There will also be seminars throughout the day from Penn State Health, UPMC Pinnacle, and Pennsylvania College of Health Sciences. The fair is this Wednesday, June 5th from 9 to 4 at the Sheraton Harrisburg Hershey Hotel. We have more information about this on our website at ABC27.com.
It is now 5:09.
Still to come on Daybreak, airline satisfaction is the highest it's been in more than a decade, but there's still room for improvement. I'll break it all down for you coming up in my Show Me the Money report.
Also, I had the latest on the missing mom in Connecticut over the weekend. Her estranged husband and his girlfriend were arrested for hindering prosecution and tampering with evidence. We have the latest, including where investigators reportedly found blood. That's coming up at 5:30 on ABC27 News Daybreak.
The ABC27 Traffic Watch report is sponsored by your Central Pennsylvania Honda dealers.
Follow ABC27 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
If you want a car from a company that's been building them for 115 years, get a Ford. If you want Waze and Amazon Alexa compatibility, get a Ford. If you want a car that doesn't have any of that, get anything but a Ford. Otherwise, you're going to want a Ford.